Hey, what's going on? It's John, and it's time for the JMART CAST for Monday, February 14th, even though today's Tuesday, February 15th. Sorry about that. I'm a little late, but what are you going to do? What's going on? How are you? How was your week, friends and family? It's been a bit of a crazy week, eh? So much has happened. I don't even know where to start. Man. Well, you know what? I'll just start with some personal stuff. I got a haircut from my buddy Stan, who used to be a client of mine, who I used to train. And one of my best clients, one of my clients that I had the most success with, where I helped him improve his back pain. I helped improve muscle hypertrophy. He definitely got a lot more muscular and stronger while training with me, and he's been very happy with the kind of the services that I'd provided, and we stayed in touch over the years. And he's an older gentleman, but he's pivoted into a new career as a hairdresser, and he's awesome at it. So I went and got a haircut from him. If anyone's looking for a dope haircut in Toronto near the downtown area, go to Black Sheep Hair and ask for Stan. He will do an amazing job. The only criticism I have for Stan is because he has such great attention to detail, he takes a really long time to finish haircuts. So other than that, because he takes such, care and has such a great attention to detail, he actually does an amazing job and it looks perfect. You just have to have the time allotment to be able to get your haircut done and then have enough time to do the other stuff during your week. So that's one thing that I did this week. Let's see, what else? Bennett's potty training is going well. Are my boys doing really well with, staying very stable, I guess, or what am I trying to say? He hasn't kind of taken a step back in terms of his potty training. He's been doing really well. In the last few mornings, I believe, I've actually woken up and gone to his room to find him sitting on the potty and kind of doing a number 2 without any prompt from us. So it's been awesome. From that sense, I don't know how many times I've raved about having a potty trained kid already on this podcast, but it bears saying again that it feels good to have that. What else? My little girl's getting super big. She's awesome. She gives me so much happiness. It's so funny how quickly kids grow up. We had these little hats because it's the winter time, right? You want to put a little hat on your baby to keep their head warm, keep their little ears warm when you take them outside, especially with the weather we've had, the -20 weather. Oh my God. And so we had this little hat that was too big for her for the longest time, and we just kept trying and it was too big. So now all of a sudden, a little bit of time passes. We tried it again and now it's too small. We never got to put it on her. Must have gone through just a big growth spurt recently and boom. Now she's got a big head. She's got a big old head, just like daddy. Yeah, so that's funny. Now what else? We got a big dog in the house. My brother's big old dog, the Armenian Gamper, the giant dog that weighs probably more than 130 pounds, is a visitor at our house for about a week, slightly more than a week. And it's been awesome taking care of him. He's such a nice dog. He does require a lot of walks. I've been on average taking him for 3 walks per day. And he's used every single walk to clean out the pipes for a number 1 and a number 2. And it's been difficult to take him on these walks with the -20 weather. And so not yesterday, but the day before, it was really freaking cold. And I was really tired by the end of the day. I was like falling asleep after putting the kids down. So I decided I'm too tired to take the dog on a walk. I let him go in the backyard for a couple minutes to take care of business for number 1. And I was like, oh, that's good enough. Brought him back in. And then lo and behold, the morning after, I wake up to hearing the dog pee on the stairs leading up to the upstairs. Oh, and I was like, this is my fault. I couldn't even get mad at the dog. I made him wait for so long before he could go outside and, do his business properly. So try to clean up everything as quickly as I could, then took the dog out for a walk, and he finished doing his business. He did 2 number 2s. That was hilarious. thought I was done. Luckily, I had enough extra bags. I carry like 4 or 5 bags with me because this dog is so huge and his like business is so large that you need multiple bags just in case. It's an insurance policy. So yeah, that's kind of the stuff that's happened to me personally. Oh yeah, one more thing happened personally. I was in this group chat with some friends, and these are great friends and talk to them fairly regularly about random stuff. But as you might imagine, most of the conversation these days is revolving about what's going on with COVID and the government response and all that. And you know, it's funny. There's one other person other than me who left the chat. So I left the chat because I just had enough of this talk of COVID and pandemic and response and how it's just been all, nonsensical. I don't want to have these conversations with people anymore. It's over. Like the person before me who left the chat, he also was as well. He was a little different bit of a case. He's just like very like pro lockdowns, pro everything, like pro government response, like the more control, the better, the way he sees it, which is surprising because he claims to have escaped the authoritarian regime of communist China. He says that he escaped that and he's glad that he's escaped that, but he's very pro-authoritarian Canadian regime. Anyways, the most of the group was very much against him and kind of voiced that, and I guess he just didn't like that very much and eventually left the group, which is fine. He doesn't need to stay where he's not, doesn't feel like, people don't agree with him. That's his choice. And then I was just tired of this conversation back and forth with people having, a lot of these pro-authoritarian ideas. So I was like, I'm done with this too. I don't need to be part of this conversation. So I kind of left that group chat. Feel a lot better now. Less of that stupid conversation. Although, even though you leave the group chats, you still bombarded with news of stupid things going on, right? Like earlier this week, I think it was closer to Monday. Not this week, I guess last week. There was a court ruling that said honking is illegal in Ottawa. Okay, that's pretty crazy to make honking illegal. Then I saw videos of police confiscating gas from truckers. I saw them confiscating firewood from truckers. Doesn't make sense to me. I saw there was what is his name? Colonel Bulford or something like that. Corporal, not Colonel. Corporal Bulford. He was on personal security for Justin Trudeau. And the quote by him is, "I have drawn my line in the sand. No more silence and compliance from me." He resigned. I heard another podcast where it was claimed that after resigning, he went on to go and join the truckers and be on the security team for the truckers. If that's true, that's amazing. Good for him for recognizing the tyranny of the Trudeau government and leaving that behind. What else did I see this week that made absolutely no freaking sense? Let's see. Oh yeah, the hotels in Ottawa are being booked by the Canadian government so that truckers don't have a place to stay. Oh my God, that makes no freaking sense. If that's true, that's just, public funds, public money being used to, book hotels so they can stay empty so that truckers can't use them. I'm not for that. That makes no sense for me. Then I saw a video of a 5'0" guy honking after it was made illegal to honk in Canada, and police just manhandled him and put him in an arrest. Like, the police was like freaking tall, big guy, young, tall, big guy. This old man looked like he was probably older than 50, probably older than 60. He was 5'0", and his arm just got yanked super hard. And he got arrested with the help of another dude, another young, big tough looking, police officer who was wearing his mask in a way where it wasn't even covering his nose. So it's all BS, right? What else? Let's see. U.S. inflation hit 7.5%. Yeah, that's a pretty large number. Basically, you're losing money as you speak, as you breathe. Get your money transferred to a hard asset. That's all I got to say about that. I've seen stats about childhood obesity going up significantly at a huge rate, way faster rate than what it was before the pandemic. I've seen stats about the deaths of despair, those going up. I've seen stats about children's speech impediment, like getting worse because they don't see people's faces covered up in masks. People are missing cancer diagnoses, they're getting late surgeries, all this because of all of this stupid situation we're in with the response to the pandemic by the Trudeau government. Yeah, this is the state of affairs we live in. Then, of course, there was the whole GoFundMe thing, right? The GoFundMe, nearly $10 million was taken by that company, and they said they were going to give it to other charities. And then when there was a huge backlash against that, they said they just refund people the money. So that's good. And then there was the GiveSendGo fundraiser, where instead of GoFundMe, people decided to provide money to GiveSendGo because that charity said, we don't make these distinctions. We're going to give the money if you donate through us. So there was another $8 million donated through GiveSendGo, and they were going to give the money to the truckers. But of course, the Ontario government stepped in through the banks, through, I think, TD Bank. So FTD Bank. Stupid Toronto Dominion. Go to hell. So 10 million from GoFundMe, another 8 million from GiveSendGo does not get to the truckers, but luckily there's the Bitcoin donations, which last time I said there was like 2 Bitcoin donated. The number raised actually totaled to 21 by now, and that money's safe and secure and is now being distributed to the truckers, which is nice. There you go, more free advertising by the Canadian government for the usefulness of Bitcoin for money that can't be controlled by the state. What else? I'm a bit deflated this week. Have a little less time to do video editing, to put out 2 videos per week on my YouTube channel, and obviously this podcast is quite a bit late. Just hard to have enough time to take care of 2 little children and be able to do all this. So sorry for being late. Sorry for sounding deflated, but like I said, like I started off, some of the things happening in my personal life are good, right? I have awesome kids. I got a sweet haircut. I am no longer part of toxic group chats where I'm getting upset. So all in all, things are good. And even though, the Emergency Act, right? The Trudeau government just underwent they have emergency powers through this Emergency Act. I don't fully know they just invoked the Emergencies Act in response to the ongoing protests. So because of that, they can now basically, according to them, they can track any financial kind of support people have been providing to truckers and, go after them. I don't know under what, charges they can go after people, but at this point, they just make stuff up. So yeah, we live in a totalitarian state. I want to get out of this country. It's a sad state of affairs when my family left places that were tyrannical to come to this place for freedom. And then it turns out that this place is turning into a copy of the places we escaped. But that's all right. There's still, this isn't over yet. I was just checking, actually not that I'm talking, I'm just checking Twitter, and there's a hashtag that says Trudeau dictatorship must go, that's trending. So there you go. There's still some hope for this stuff to end. What else did I want to talk about? Something non-related to Bitcoin. There was actually one thing before I get onto that. Just wanted to go back to the CPI. So the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, inflation is at 7.5%, which is quite a lot. But just so we put that in perspective, I found this tweet from Ottavio Costa, who's a portfolio manager at Crescat Capital. And according to his tweet, in the price changes since January 2021, and he uses Bloomberg as the source for these values. He says that natural gas was up by 81%, oil was up by 66%, agricultural commodities up by 24%, rent up by 13%, used car prices up by 44%, gasoline's up by 36%, cattle prices up by 20%, lumber up by 15%, coffee up by 92%, hotel prices up by 37%. So all these things are double-digit price inflation, yet the CPI, the Consumer Price Index that takes into account all these things that I just said, is only 7.5%. So 7.5% is pretty high, but that's a suppressed number that they're reporting. It's easily double digits. So there's that. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about today is seed oils. Something unrelated to Bitcoin, something unrelated to the madness of whatever we're living through. Let's talk about health a little bit. If you consume seed oils, you're doing yourself a disservice. What are seed oils? Canola oil, soy oil, sunflower seed oil, safflower seed oil. What else? All the stuff, all that comes from seeds. Just avoid that stuff. I'm going to go through a thread on Twitter again of this individual at Root Cause Doctor. Look him up at Root Cause Doctor. He says that this is his thread. How seeding seed oils break your most important cellular machinery. He's talking about the mitochondria. It may appear simplistic to blame seed oils for every modern chronic disease. Obesity, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, cancer, age-related macular degeneration all appear unrelated. But if we discard the organ-specific disease paradigm and consider what's happening at the level of the cell, things start to make sense. Linoleic acid, the chief omega-6 fatty acid contained in seed oils, produces mitochondrial dysfunction in every cell of your body. How? Quite literally by weakening the cellular machinery with shoddy materials. It's like building your engine with your engine pistons out of plastic. Mitochondria are ancient endosymbiosed bacteria. Mitochondria are ancient endosymbiosed bacteria that live in our cells and make energy for us. Happy working mitochondria equals thriving and healthy. Broken or distorted mitochondria equals road to disease. One of the most important machines in mitochondria is cardiolipin. This is a lipid complex that plays an essential role in mitochondrial energy metabolism. It sits at the inner mitochondrial membrane and helps make magic of the electron transport chain. Cardiolipin has 4 fatty acid tails, kind of like a triglyceride, but with 1 extra. And the fatty acid composition of this molecule influences its function and, in turn, that of the mitochondria. So today, people are eating evolutionarily inconsistent amounts of plant-derived linoleic acid from refined seed oils, and excess linoleic acid in cardiolipin causes it to oxidize and break. Oxidized cardiolipin will lead to a defective electron transport chain, which is very important. That's how we make ATP. That is the currency of the body through energy. Oxidized cardiolipin also leads to mitochondrial dysfunction and cellular damage and death. By regularly eating seed oils instead of ancestrally appropriate saturated fats, You're forcing your body to make your cardiolipin with linoleic acid. The inevitable outcome is oxidized cardiolipin and mitochondrial dysfunction. If every cell in every organ has defective mitochondria, you're going to get sick. Which organ that disease manifests will depend on other mitochondrial insults. It will depend on other dietary toxins such as refined carb and sugar intake. It will also depend on individual genetic predispositions. All this we haven't even talked about the breakdown products of linoleic acids, which themselves are toxic to your cells in a host of ways, some even completely unrelated to the mitochondria. There is an article regarding this in PubMed called Lowering Dietary Linoleic Acid Reduces Bioactive Oxidized Linoleic Acid Metabolites in Humans. This was a study from 2012 by the author named Christopher Ramsden. Worth checking that out. All right. That's all I got to say about that. Avoid seed oils. They're bad for you, bad for your health. Buy Bitcoin because that's good for your financial health, because even under emergency powers, the Trudeau government can't take that money away from you. Can't seize it. All right. That's it. I'm going to keep it short today, just 20 minutes. Hope everyone had a good week. Hopefully I'll have some free time next week to do the podcast on time and have it released on Monday. Until then, everybody, thanks for listening. Stay active. Be grateful. J-Mart out.